How big a signing could this be for Forest Green, Steve?
Well, let's hope it's a good one. I knew Christian from when he was here before. I would have been out there on the circuit, and I would have recommended Christian to many a club. So for me, he's always been a good player, and we're delighted to have him. I spoke to Phil Parkinson this morning, and he said to me, he said, what a great signing, and he said, you've done well there. So we're pleased with that one, and it gives us something different.
Yeah, goals and a great work ethic as well, which I guess is important to you.
Well, the great work ethic is actually, or should be, a gimme, shouldn't it? So that there, yeah, but obviously goals. He has a good record of goals. His hold at play. For me, it's not just about that, because the goals are always about the striker themselves and wanting to score goals. But his all-round team play and what he's like as a lad is really, really important to me. I'll take character over ability for 10 months every day of the week.
Describe how you've had to juggle this week of coaching and chasing work in the transfer window. Do you feel that you're now up to speed on the squad of where you'd want to be a week in?
I'll tell you when I'll know a bit more. Unfortunately, the window will be shut, but I'll know a little bit more on Saturday. That's what I will do. So, I've tried to, look at one game and assess very quickly, which is, I suppose, fair and unfair, really, depending on how you look at it. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to do what you're trying to do within a week. Normally the work you're doing now, you'd be doing pre-season. So trying to sandwich that in between games. But we had to try and have quite an informative week this week. So we've had a long day Tuesday, we've had a long day today. Tomorrow will have to be a shorter day because we've got a long trip on the coach. So yeah, it's certainly been a long week.
And are the players proving coachable in sort of learning and picking up what you want and how you want to improve them as a team?
Yeah, I've said before, you can improve a player, but you can only improve them with their consent. And what I mean by that is you can't beat a player into improvement. You have to encourage them and show them why you want them to do certain things. But they've been really good on the training ground this week. Really good.
And do you have to sort of start off slow and take baby steps at the beginning of an improvement so that you don't fall over later, or is there not time to do that?
Well, you've probably answered the question for me there by two questions. So I thought they played well last week. I thought we should have been the 1-0 victors last week. It was a penalty. Now I've had a look back at that. The penalty was a penalty. So okay, we hold our hands up to that. But I think that we created enough chances where we could have won by the odd goal last week. So that was a positive for me. Be interesting to see where we are Saturday.
First away game as well. How different's that as a challenge going to Colchester?
Well, every game's going to be a challenge, and the reason every game's a challenge at the moment for us is because we're bottom of the league. So every game has to be a challenge. So we know that. But what we have to do is we have to go out there and try and remember the things that we've worked on in training this week, because that's the idea that hopefully can make them a better team. I mean, they did all right last week. The boys did all right. We didn't deserve to lose that game. We're very unlucky to not get 3 points last week, and it would have only been by a narrow scoreline, but we could have easily. The minimum we deserved was a draw. So if they can take that improvement out there again, then that would be great. But normally you'll have 5 or 6 weeks of pre-season getting your ideas into players. So we haven't even had 5 or 6 days yet. I've probably had 3 days, 2 this week so far. tomorrow will be a shorter one, and one day last week where Dan did it, but I kept bopping in and out. So, you know, probably 2 to 3 days on the grass with them. Yeah, it's not a long time.
What do you make of Colchester?
Well, obviously, since Danny's gone in there, they look like they've improved. I mean, they had the start of the window, which I suppose was better because you can get stuck into areas that you need to recruit. So, you know, I don't quite know when he went in, but I think they've had a decent enough January, so they've had time to assess and then go shopping early in January, where we haven't, or I haven't quite had that. So I'm sure that they've improved. Their results have picked up, but really, you know, the games at the moment are about us and how we perform. For me,